The next one is 113th culvert replacement funding. This is in Crown Point. It's on Beaver Dam Lateral 1. This is what you're looking at is the culvert under 113th Avenue. It's a main east-west roadway in Crown Point heading towards the east is I-65. Here's the situation is the culvert's failing. And I'll show you some pictures of why that is. As I mentioned, it's regulated drain. There's permitting that we've already started through the Corps, IDNR, and IDEM. The idea eventually is to take 113th from 2 lanes to 4 lanes through here. There's just an overall map of where it is. Just to the right is I-65. It's just east of the Crown Point Sports Complex. And as I mentioned to you, you can kind of see how the culvert, it's been undermined, and a lot of the creek is actually flowing underneath the culvert during normal flows. It's been completely undermined. You can see that the bracing for the bridge itself is out of whack now. And as we look closer, you can see more gaps and more problems with it. So it's in very bad shape. They are watching it constantly. There's a lot of fatigue and settling has gone on one side of it. The upstream side is being braced, trying to keep it together. There are steel plates over 113th Street just to help not let it fail too soon before we can get it replaced. But the Crown Point constantly has to maintain these to allow traffic to keep going. And it's a large culvert, and there's utility conflicts that have to be dealt with. It is out for bid, and we expect plans and specs have been completed. Bids are due May 3rd. We've had to go with a deep foundation because the poor soils and why, really explaining why this has been failing as quickly as it has. There's some really poor soil, so we've changed our design and gotten some additional soil borings that are showing that we need a deep foundation. So that's been designed, and it's just the overall profile of it will be a culvert similar to what it looked like now, just a little larger. It's an arch culvert, and we're making sure that it's wildlife friendly for to satisfy DNR's environmental, so that the critters can go through without getting their feet wet, and white-tailed deer don't have to duck going through there. So we've tried to satisfy all that. The request is for $439,000, which is 50% of the culvert cost, about 45% of the total cost. So we're not including the asphalt striping and some other things with that. It's a City of Crown Point and Lake County Drainage Board project. Questions?
All right, thank you. Any questions with regards to that presentation? I'll start. Dan, did this make the list on the study that we did on that Beaver Dam?
No, it's not on the master list.
Oh, sorry. It's not on the master list. What about the one we just did? Because the whole concern was all the water that was coming through Crown Point and getting it through the culvert under I-65. Just could have never stopped being my worry.
Yeah, I think this is just one of those things that was an emergency and it failed. And it's one of the topics that came up during the advisory board, is just make sure that when you have this is like infrastructure, so it's slippery slope when we sponge this type of stuff, but it is on one of the major arteries it's a regulated drain, and the fact that 50% was asked, it was.
And it's a culvert, and how many more, because I was looking at the aerial and I noticed that there's a new one at 109th on the same run. Did y'all put corrugated there too?
I didn't do the 109th one, so I don't have the answer for that one. I've only did review it for the county. I don't recall.
Okay, so this is coming through the county, not the city.
Oh, no, this is a joint effort. The surveyor's office drainage board is replacing the culvert, but the city is doing the roadway on top of it and the east and west of it.
This is an interesting look. And then my question is that obviously it's an issue and it looks like it's falling apart. There's no doubt about that. But then, where's the next one? Is it going north? That one just got done, and that looks like it is expanded to 4 lanes. I mean, it's corrugated. I can see it on the area. It's corrugated.
The talking about 109th.
Yeah,
So, I mean, a lot of these corrugated ones that are designed to last 75 years. I think part of the issue here was the really poor soils that this was sitting on and probably wasn't accounted for when it was originally put in, and why we've seen so much settlement and why we believe it's failing.
Thank you, Dan. I mean, because the studies is helping us, how much volume is going through this particular feeder versus the other one that comes out of golf course.
Yeah, I don't have Thomas, you have the volume coming out of lateral one?
Versus the golf course, I don't know.
Me,
Because this then feeds into the main one. That's that's a big one.
how many
Thank you.
laterals go into Beaver Dam? Does anyone know?
I believe there are at least nine or 11 laterals for Beaver Dam.
There's your feeders.
Yeah. And just having a list maybe of how many of these particular issues are within the system as more and more growth happens in this part of the county and the watershed, it's going to be a bigger and bigger issue because time keeps going fast.
Dan, I'm wondering, because I know I had something to do with this, can you maybe give a courtesy call to Westler to find out if that was in the scope? This,
They just did the main Beaver Dam ditch.
okay,
They didn't do
this
the
wasn't in the
laterals.
scope. I just wanted to make sure this wasn't a. this- That was the essence of the question.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good question because now the issue is like, all right, when a Beaver Dam ditch, I'm thinking it's everything going into that hole. Now you're telling me it's only the main feed and everything that runs into it isn't getting taken a look at? Does the city have that?
Well, that'd be the cities over there. I don't know, but we just had Westler look at main Beaver Dam ditch.
Right.
We didn't have a look at the,
All,
I only thought there was 9, but if he says 11, I'll take his word for it.
Okay. I mean, do we have other examples in Hearts like this and Katy Marsh and Plum and those types of things are the feeders into the.
Well, I mean, the best example is when we did that one under Main Street, when Sheriffville and Dyer all fed in under Main Street that ultimately led into Hart Ditch. That's a smaller version of this, where when that one was collapsing, that was the three-way price for all three communities. Sheriff pitched in, Dyer pitched in, and we're Dyer Association, and then we pitched in.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
I have a question with regards to the you know, where the water goes under 6 and 5. Is that something that you see as part of your responsibility with the county or with the city or with the state or none of the above?
When it goes under 65,
All the stuff that happens in Crown Point that we're spending money on, all that water goes to that point. That's why.
Correct.
So that's my question.
well, it'd be if it's part of regulated drain, with the county.
Dan,
I'm sorry.
is the regulated drain under the 65?
Beaver Dam ditch, so.
I know,
Yes.
but they started all over the place.
Yeah, I would say yes.
So,
It's regulated under 65. It stops further down before it joins Turkey Creek.
Before it joins Niles Ditch
Yes.
and out of Winfield, and then goes into Deep River.
Okay, so who knows when the last time maintenance was done on that?
On the culvert underneath 65,
That would be an indictment.
that was already done, that was done, replaced by INDOT, like in the last 2 or 3 years, I believe. And they redid I-65.
That's, I mean, all this stuff jam up there. All right, thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions for Mr. Burke on this one? Either none.
I got a
Okay,
quick one.
let's go.
So you're increasing the size of this culvert at 113. And Bill just zoomed in on 109. Is that capacity gonna be greater or equal?
I would assume it's part of the hydrology,
Well,
right?
it's, yeah,
So we're not creating new water.
just construction. You're going into
No,
construction.
you're just moving it faster, I would assume.
So it's a higher culvert than it is now because it's partially collapsed, but it's not wider as in passing more hydraulic, allowing it more water to go through there. We've had to demonstrate that to DNR that we're meeting, not increasing flows or changing the hydraulics.
I'll do the maintenance on this. Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
And I'm
Yeah.
assuming once they get their bid come in on May 4th, it could be higher, it could be lower, so we'll know what the new number is once that is open.
Correct.
Cool. Any other questions on this subject? Mr. Burke, thank you again for this and all your other help.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Everything goes well.